One of the world's most captivating places, Brazil is a country of powdery white sand beaches, verdant rainforests, and wild, rhythm-filled metropolises. Brazil is the largest country in South America and the fifth largest nation in the world. Brazil is the largest country in South America and the fifth largest nation in the world. It forms an enormous triangle on the eastern side of the continent with a 4,500-mile, 7,400-kilometer, coastline along the Atlantic Ocean. It has borders with every South American country except Chile and Ecuador. The Brazilian landscape is very varied. It is most well known for its dense forests, including the Amazon, the world's largest jungle, in the north. But there are also dry grasslands, called pampas, rugged hills, pine forests, sprawling wetlands, immense plateaus, and a long coastal plain. Northern Brazil is dominated by the Amazon River and the jungles that surround it. The Amazon is not one river but a network of many hundreds of waterways. Its total length stretches 4,250 miles, 6,840 kilometers. Thousands of species live in the river, including the infamous piranha and the bato, or pink river dolphin. Brazil, country of South America that occupies half the continent's landmass. It is the fifth largest country in the world, exceeded in size only by Russia, Canada, China, and the United States, though its area is greater than that of the 48 conterminous U.S. states. Brazil faces the Atlantic Ocean along 4,600 miles, 7,400 kilometers, of coastline and shares more than 9,750 miles, 15,700 kilometers, of inland borders with every South American country except Chile and Ecuador, specifically, Uruguay to the south, Argentina, Paraguay and Bolivia to the southwest, Peru to the west, Colombia to the northwest, and Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname and French Guiana to the north. Brazil stretches roughly 2,700 miles, 4,350 kilometers, from north to south and from east to west to form a vast irregular triangle that encompasses a wide range of tropical and subtropical landscapes, including wetlands, savannas, plateaus, and low mountains. Brazil contains most of the Amazon River basin, which has the world's largest river system and the world's most extensive virgin rainforest. The country contains no desert, high mountain, or Arctic environments. Brazil is the fifth most populous country on Earth and accounts for 1/3 of Latin America's population. Most of the inhabitants of Brazil are concentrated along the eastern seaboard, although its capital, Brasilia, is located far inland and increasing numbers of migrants are moving to the interior. Rio de Janeiro, in the eyes of many of the world, continues to be the preeminent icon of Brazil. The nation's burgeoning cities, huge hydroelectric and industrial complexes, mines, and fertile farmlands make it one of the world's major economies. However, Brazil struggles with extreme social inequalities, environmental degradation, intermittent financial crises, and a sometimes deadlocked political system. Brazil is unique in the Americas because, following independence from Portugal, it did not fragment into separate countries as did British and Spanish possessions in the region. Rather, it retained its identity through the intervening centuries and a variety of forms of government. Because of that hegemony, the Portuguese language is universal except among Brazil's native Indians, especially those in the more remote reaches of the Amazon basin. At the turn of the 21st century, Brazilians marked the 500th anniversary of Portuguese contact with a mixture of public celebration and deprecation. Brazil is the world's fifth largest country by area and the seventh most populous. Its capital is Brasilia, and its most populous city is São Paulo. The federation is composed of the union of the 26 states and the federal district. It is the only country in the Americas to have Portuguese as an official language. It is one of the most multicultural and ethnically diverse nations, due to over a century of mass immigration from around the world, and the most populous Roman Catholic majority country. Bounded by the Atlantic Ocean on the east, Brazil has a coastline of 7,491 kilometers, 4,655 miles. It borders all other countries and territories in South America except Ecuador and Chile and covers roughly half of the continent's land area. Its Amazon basin includes a vast tropical forest, home to diverse wildlife, a variety of ecological systems, and extensive natural resources spanning numerous protected habitats. This unique environmental heritage positions Brazil at number 1 of 17 megadiverse countries, and is the subject of significant global interest, as environmental degradation through processes like deforestation has direct impacts on global issues like climate change and biodiversity loss. Brazil is a regional and middle power and is also classified as an emerging power and a major non-NATO ally. Categorized as a developing country with a high Human Development Index, Brazil is considered an advanced emerging economy, having the 9th largest GDP in the world by nominal, and 8th by PPP measures, the largest in Latin America. As an upper-middle income economy by the World Bank and a newly industrialized country, Brazil has the largest share of global wealth in South America and it is one of the world's major breadbaskets, being the largest producer of coffee for the last 150 years. However, the country retains noticeable corruption, crime, and social inequality. Brazil is a founding member of the United Nations, the G20, BRICS, G4, Mercosur, Organization of American States, Organization of Ibero-American States and the Community of Portuguese Language Countries. Brazil is also an observer state of the Arab League. The word Brazil likely comes from the Portuguese word for Brazil wood, a tree that once grew plentifully along the Brazilian coast. Brazilian topography is also diverse and includes hills, mountains, plains, highlands, and scrublands. Much of the terrain lies between 200 meters, 660 feet, and 800 meters, 2,600 feet, in elevation. The main upland area occupies most of the southern half of the country. The northwestern parts of the plateau consist of broad, rolling terrain broken by low, rounded hills. The wildlife of Brazil comprises all naturally occurring animals, plants, and fungi in the South American country. Brazil occupies a large area along the eastern coast of South America and includes much of the continent's interior, sharing land borders with Uruguay to the south, Argentina and Paraguay to the southwest, Bolivia and Peru to the west, Colombia to the northwest, and Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, and France, French overseas region of French Guiana, to the north. It shares a border with every South American country except Ecuador and Chile. The Brazilian territory also encompasses a number of oceanic archipelagos, such as Fernando de Noronha, Rocas Atoll, St. Peter and Paul Rocks, and Trindade and Martim Vez. Its size, relief, climate, and natural resources make Brazil geographically diverse. Including its Atlantic islands, Brazil lies between latitudes 6 degrees north and 34 degrees south, and longitudes 28 degrees and 74 degrees west. Brazil is the 5th largest country in the world, and 3rd largest in the Americas, with a total area of 8,515,767.049 square kilometers, 3,287,956 square miles, including 55,455 square kilometers, 21,411 square miles of water. North to south, Brazil is also the longest country in the world, spanning 4,395 kilometers, 2,731 miles from north to south, and the only country in the world that has the equator and the Tropic of Capricorn running through it. It spans 4 time zones, from UTC-5 comprising the state of Acre and the westernmost portion of Amazonas, to UTC-4 in the western states, to UTC-3 in the eastern states, the national time, and UTC-2 in the Atlantic Islands. Brazil's upper-middle income mixed market economy is rich in natural resources. It has the largest national economy in Latin America, the 10th largest economy in the world by nominal GDP, and the 9th largest by PPP. After rapid growth in preceding decades, the country entered an ongoing recession in 2014 amid a political corruption scandal and nationwide protests. A developing country, Brazil has a labor force of roughly 100 million, which is the world's fifth largest, with a high unemployment rate of 14.4% as of 2021. Its foreign exchange reserves are the 10th highest in the world. The B3 in Sao Paulo is the largest stock exchange of Latin America by market capitalization. In regards to poverty, about 1.9% of the total population lives at $2.15 a day, while about 19% live at $6.85 a day. Brazil's economy suffers from endemic corruption and high income inequality. The Brazilian real is the national currency. Brazil's diversified economy includes agriculture, industry, and a wide range of services. The large service sector accounts for about 72.7% of total GDP, followed by the industrial sector, 20.7%, while the agriculture sector is by far the smallest, making up 6.6% of total GDP. Brazil is one of the largest producers of various agricultural commodities, and also has a large cooperative sector that provides 50% of the food in the country. It has been the world's largest producer of coffee for the last 150 years. Brazil is the world's largest producer of sugarcane, soy, coffee, and orange, is one of the top 5 producers of maize, cotton, lemon, tobacco, pineapple, banana, beans, coconut, watermelon, and papaya, and is one of the top 10 world producers of cocoa, cashew, mango, rice, tomato, sorghum, tangerine, avocado, persimmon, and guava, among others. Regarding livestock, it is one of the 5 largest producers of chicken meat, beef, pork, and cow's milk in the world. In the mining sector, Brazil is among the largest producers of iron ore, copper, gold, bauxite, manganese, tin, niobium, and nickel. In terms of precious stones, Brazil is the world's largest producer of amethyst, topaz, agate, and one of the main producers of tourmaline, emerald, aquamarine, garnet and opal. The country is a major exporter of soy, iron ore, pulp, cellulose, maize, beef, chicken meat, soybean meal, sugar, coffee, tobacco, cotton, orange juice, footwear, airplanes, cars, vehicle parts, gold, ethanol, semi-finished iron, among other products. Brazil is the world's 24th largest exporter and 26th largest importer as of 2021. China is its largest trading partner, accounting for 32% of the total trade. Other large trading partners include the United States, Argentina, the Netherlands, and Canada. Its automotive industry is the 8th largest in the world. In the food industry, Brazil was the 2nd largest exporter of processed foods in the world in 2019. The country was the 2nd largest producer of pulp in the world and the 8th largest producer of paper in 2016. In the footwear industry, Brazil was the 4th largest producer in 2019. It was also the 9th largest producer of steel in the world. In 2018, the chemical industry of Brazil was the 8th largest in the world. Although it was among the 5 largest world producers in 2013, Brazil's textile industry is very little integrated into world trade. The tertiary sector, trade and services, represented 75.8% of the country's GDP in 2018, according to the IBGE. The service sector was responsible for 60% of GDP and trade for 13%. It covers a wide range of activities: commerce, accommodation and catering, transport, communications, financial services, real estate activities and services provided to businesses, public administration, urban cleaning, sanitation, etc., and other services such as education, social and health services, research and development, sports activities, etc., since it consists of activities complementary to other sectors. Micro and small businesses represent 30% of the country's GDP. In the commercial sector, for example, they represent 53% of the GDP within the activities of the sector. Tourism in Brazil is a growing sector and key to the economy of several regions of the country. The country had 6.36 million visitors in 2015, ranking in terms of the international tourist arrivals as the main destination in South America and second in Latin America after Mexico. Natural areas are its most popular tourism product, a combination of ecotourism with leisure and recreation, mainly sun and beach, and adventure travel, as well as cultural tourism. Among the most popular destinations are the Amazon rainforest, beaches and dunes in the northeast region, the Pantanal in the center-west region, beaches at Rio de Janeiro and Santa Catarina, cultural tourism in Minas Gerais and business trips to São Paulo. Domestic tourism is a key market segment for the tourism industry in Brazil. In 2005, 51 million Brazilian nationals made 10 times more trips than foreign tourists and spent 5 times more money than their international counterparts. Technological research in Brazil is largely carried out in public universities and research institutes, with the majority of funding for basic research coming from various government agencies. The Brazilian Space Agency has the most advanced space program in Latin America, with significant resources to launch vehicles and manufacture of satellites. Brazil is the world's 9th largest energy consumer. Much of its energy comes from renewable sources, particularly hydroelectricity and ethanol. The Itaipu Dam is the world's largest hydroelectric plant by energy generation, and the country has other large plants like Belo Monte and Tucuruí. The first car with an ethanol engine was produced in 1978 and the first airplane engine running on ethanol in 2005. Brazilian roads are the primary carriers of freight and passenger traffic. Brazil's railway system has been declining since 1945, when emphasis shifted to highway construction. There are about 2,500 airports in Brazil, including landing fields, the second largest number in the world, after the United States. São Paulo, Guarulhos International Airport, near São Paulo, is the largest and busiest airport with nearly 20 million passengers annually, while handling the vast majority of commercial traffic for the country. For freight transport, waterways are of importance, e.g. the industrial zones of Manaus can be reached only by means of the Solimões, Amazonas Waterway, 3,250 kilometers or 2,020 miles in length, with a minimum depth of 6 meters or 20 feet. The country also has 50,000 kilometers, 31,000 miles, of waterways. Coastal shipping links widely separated parts of the country. Bolivia and Paraguay have been given free ports at Santos. Of the 36 deep water ports, Santos, Itajaí, Rio Grande, Paranagua, Rio de Janeiro, Sepetiba, Vitória, Suape, Manaus, and São Francisco do Sul are the most important. Bulk carriers have to wait up to 18 days before being serviced, container ships 36.3 hours on average. Its capital is Brasília, and its most populous city is São Paulo. The federation is composed of the union of the 26 states and the federal district. It is the only country in the Americas to have Portuguese as an official language. The currency in Brazil is called the real, BRL. This money began to be used in Rio in 1994 and was a great move as it has led to very low inflation. Sports in Brazil are those that are widely practiced and popular in the country, as well as others which originated there or have some cultural significance. Brazilians are heavily involved in sports. Football is the most popular sport in Brazil. Other than football, sports like volleyball, mixed martial arts, basketball, tennis, and motorsports, especially Formula One, enjoy high levels of popularity. Football is the most popular sport in Brazil. The Brazil national football team, governed by the Confederação Brasileira de Futebol, has won the FIFA World Cup a record 5 times, in 1958, 1962, 1970, 1994, and 2002, and is the only team to succeed in qualifying for every FIFA World Cup competition ever held. Brazil also hosted the 1950 and 2014 World Cups, becoming the only country in South America to have hosted 2 World Cups, Argentina, Uruguay, and Chile being the other former hosts. it is among the favorites to win the trophy every time the competition is scheduled. After Brazil won its third World Cup in 1970, they were awarded the Jules Rimet Trophy, when Pelé, one of the most recognized football players in history and all-time top scorer in the sport, led Brazil to 3 of those championships. The national football team has also won the Copa America 9 times, the Olympic football tournament twice, and is the most successful team in the FIFA Confederations Cup, with 4 titles. All of the leading players in the national teams are prominent in the football world, including Pelé, Zico, Garrincha, Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos, Romario, Ronaldinho, Taffarel, Falcao, Rivaldo, and Neymar in the men's game, and Marta in the women's game. Some of these players can be considered superstars, achieving celebrity status internationally and signing multi-million club contracts, as well as advertisement and endorsement deals. Thank you for watching this video.